original, mighty the god, the magical radical. Representing my magical, young Jose come million. Jamaica wacha, that difta, kina teach me kenyo Jamaica kopa. That wacha, kina dame chini kenyo Jamaica wacha. That difta, kina teach me kenyo Jamaica kopa. That difta, kina dame chini kenyo.
Gangsta de kamele mele, deya, eja kaman deya, we are deya for the bed. The heaven they say you're my baby. Every day I call you my blow, you're my sweater. Baby got your machina yo, baby kwakana yo. Baby chamo chonkola, baby got your machina, baby got your kwara. You are say bandada, you must say bandova, you must say bandada. Baby got your tema kama kwakala. Baby tema kama kwakala. Whatever kama put it on my baby.
Good morning, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon and I'm talking about work in the United Kingdom. If you live in the United Kingdom or if you live outside the United Kingdom, this may or may not be relevant to you, but often, like I said, if you watch this video, watch with the rest of the video. This is a continuation about work, about pay in particular. We have been talking last time about statutory sick pay and also the manner of payment, how to calculate payments, how to get support from different individuals or advisors, lawyers, if you're living in the United Kingdom, if you live outside the UK. I've spoken about differences between what happens in the UK and also speaking about similarities with what happened in the UK because of the global system. And I've been repeating this point because they are central to understanding why I'm doing this exercise. The other reason is because I'm looking at the significance, the relevance also, I mean the importance of income in an economy. Because if you work for living, it means you get paid, and that paid counts as income, which is fundamental in modern society for you to live. It's something called livelihood. When we experience the cost of living crisis, it triggered my program to speak about the problem, and I've been focusing on income in particular in terms of the UK, what happened in the United Kingdom, but also I spoke about different dimensions to examine the broader issue of policy, politics, and also the legal system, the market, in particular capitalism, and also the market system, big businesses, small and medium businesses, which employment and work is part of the system. And we'll talk about poverty, we'll talk about inequality in terms of social policy in the United Kingdom in different ways. I've said work in the UK is part of the social policy as well as part of an economic system. So pay attention to this and leave a comment below and click notification bell. If you're watching, watch and share with family and friends to support the channel. And also subscribe to this channel. Subscription is free. It takes seconds. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. Continue watching. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. We talk about work and we'll talk about a type of support in terms of how people work, how people get paid, and how also people who are sick still get paid or from one source or another in this country. And also in consistency with public policy in relation to social policy and social welfare in the United Kingdom. And I'm so excited about this prospect. And also, if you are in a situation of payment and somebody or yourself trying to help yourself or asking for help from somebody, they always look for average pay in relation to the total pay, and to work out the average weekly earnings, and also considering something called the end date of the period of payment. These are some specific which you look at to figure out a certain a pay period, trying to work out the average in terms of payment. You're looking at 8 weeks window, at least a minimum of 8 weeks. Which is earlier than the end date. The end date of the relevant period is the last payday before the first day of sickness. We talk about when you fell sick, And also when you are paid, the last is called the end date, the period, the last payday before. If you get paid like today, tomorrow you fall sick, and then you have a payday from yesterday, and to look at the start of the period is looking at the most recent payday, which is actually at least 8 weeks earlier than the end date. End date there being the end date, the last day, the last payday is has to do the last day related to the last payday. I'm trying to struggle with the language to make people understand it in a more common way. So when you talk about the end date, which is significant in understanding the average weekly pay, to calculate it kind of like a formula, it's important to look at the end date, which is the last payday before the first day of sickness. The first day you fell sick the first day, just immediately before your last day, then you're looking at the end date of the relevant period. In working the average of your total earning in a set period. Therefore, a set period is in a set, and the start period is the most recent payday, as I said, and this relates to at least 8 weeks earlier than the end date. So we'll talk about the end date already. Recent payday, the most recent payday, and the end date, which is a period relating to the last pay before you fell sick on the first day of your sickness. This is a bit complicated, but it's like wordplay, which is interesting to show, to demonstrate why sometimes looking at legal materials and also understanding policy can be a bit daunting. I'm trying to display this so that you leave a comment below. Let me know you are thinking about policy and law in terms of payday, because these are very important information, because it involves dispute between employer. It's not just for show or for anything. The significance is that you are an employee working for a living, you're falling sick. Within contract, you are supposed to get something called statutory sick pay, which in the UK is of right when you work within certain conditions, within certain terms. It's the statutory right, which means as the strength of the law passed by Parliament to protect employee, and also to sometimes depending also protecting also employer, and this is to be compared with statutory contractual pay, sickness pay, as we have discussed in the other video. Thank you so much for you are attending, and leave a comment below if you like to make a comment, and also it's good to pay attention about the week 8 weeks window while working the average weekly earnings for purposes of estimating whether or not you might or might not be able to get a statistic pay. So you can get more detail online on gov.uk. If you live in the United Kingdom, if you live outside the United Kingdom, out of curiosity, you can also visit the UK government website, but it is quite similar to government website in Europe and America, in the developed world, in the West, also in Asia, also perhaps in Africa. If you are a curious animal trying to understand the way the world of work operates, and also trying to empower yourself with information online is the key. So you go to your government website, it's free, the information to be used fairly. Now fair use is something else which I'm not going to talk about it because I know very little about, but I believe if you use it in a normal way, then you are okay, and that is something for you to find out. But stay tuned, continue watching. Let us carry on with this facility, with this process, and looking at how to calculate sick pay and status sick pay if you work fixed hours. We talk about fixed hours, different types of work, Sometimes you work full time, sometimes you work 0-hour contract. We are now looking at fixed hours. You can use a sick pay calculator, which is an online system which is to be found on gov.uk to work out exactly what you should get if you work regular hours. You talk about regular hours. Stay tuned, continue watching, and let me know your thoughts. So these you will get a sick pay, and so looking at the days you'll get paid, we'll talk about estimation and measurement. So in a period of incapacity for work, you will only get status sick pay if you normally work if you aren't sick. You're so working if you aren't sick, and also incapacity for work. The period of in a period of incapacity of work, you will only get status sick pay for days you would normally work if you weren't sick. So it's a bit complicated. If you are not sick, you don't get status sick pay. As simple as that. So these are called qualifying days. And qualifying days is when you are not sick and you are working, and probably you are not working for one reason or another, but it has to be relating to sickness, and you're not working. This combination create a situation where you might or might not be able to get status sick pay. Thank you, continue watching. Thank you so much. And so you won't get any status sick pay for the first 3 qualifying days of a period of incapacity. These are some caveats within the law. The first 3 qualifying days of a period, perhaps because you are being paid or for one reason or another, because we are talking about income. If you're working income, if you're sick, if you fall sick, which is within your agreement, which is supported by primary legislation, and also supported by perhaps contractual rules of law for in favor of the employee or in favor of the employer, as the case may be. So we talk about qualifying days, which is 3 days of a period of incapacity for work. If you can't incapacity for work means you're sick and you are not able because of sickness, these are called waiting days, waiting for the qualification to be paid, to be able to be paid. So you will be paid from the first qualifying day after the 3 waiting days, which is the qualifying day. Afterward, after 3 days, then this is what usually the next day. Except this is usually the next day, except when it's a day you don't really work. If you don't work in certain days, then you may not really work in one way or the other. For example, Sunday and your qualifying day would be the next day you would usually work, for example, Monday. It relates on your timetable. We have discussed this in the other videos. There's a lot of complexity, if I may confess, which is a nice thing. The world is complicated enough, and if you care to exercise your mind by reading about these things online, leave a comment below if you are interested. Leave a comment below if you are not interested, because to see if you are working or if you are not working, if you are sick, if you're not sick, it's only a matter of time you will be working if you are in the United Kingdom or out of the United Kingdom. You have one way or the other, you're going to be working for a living, and also you will be paid, and you will fall sick. People fall sick all the time, or if you don't fall sick, then you know what to expect. If you are well and alive and well and working, stay tuned, continue watching. Thank you so much. So we're looking about the weekly rate. For the full week you work, you are off work. Actually, for any full week you're off work, and you will get for any full week for any full week someone is off work, they will get 116. If you're off work for any full week, That's what they talk about actually. If you have worked for the full week, you get 116 pound and 75. Leave a comment below and let me know. Because you see, part of the reason I'm actually talking about this material, I'm discussing this material. My primary focus in the United Kingdom is the level of pay. If you go to employment in broad terms, the pay is low, as in statutory national minimum wage or national living wage. I have already, spoken, now and again. I really spoken about the low pay in the United Kingdom, also at the low pay perhaps elsewhere, and in terms of work, and also in terms of pay, national minimum wage, which I believe is the reason the British people remains in poverty, and because the level of pay is very, very low. It's just earning a living from work, or earning a living, or actually accessing source of living, like when the government pay benefit, which is money or other form of support given to the British people, because one or the other they are in need. I would say the chronic problem, which may or may not be solved, but it has to be acknowledged: the low pay of benefit, the low pay of work, the low pay of self-employment. If you are employed, if you're self-employed, if you're working in other contractual or capacity, the level of pay in the UK is fundamentally problematic, which, if you live in the United Kingdom, if you also have a member of parliament, the best thing for me, for you, in my opinion, is to do your best to start connecting to your member of parliament. If you are an individual, if you are a family, if you're a community, do your best to start the process gently but surely. The habit, the mentality of connecting with your member of parliament or someone in their offices to try to raise politically, at least in terms of campaigning, to try and raise the issue of low pay in the United Kingdom, because that is the one thing keeping the British people in poverty in a country where the country, Britain, being the 6th richest country in the world. In other words, it is really problematic. It is really disturbing to know you are living in one of the richest countries in the world, extreme wealth in this country, and people still fail to pay their rent. They struggle to buy food and energy and water, accessing public transport, failing, struggling to access healthcare, and struggling to access housing, whether rented in the market, whether social housing provided by the government. All this chaos is political, and it has nothing to do with the economy, unless politicians and politics, political ideology, and political interest has created a situation where these issues has become economic. They have nothing to do with economic. Capitalism grows wealth, and that's what it does. The market system is a space where the strong compete and where the weak are excluded. If you're weak, the majority of people, if you are not wealthy, you are excluded. And also where the strong are under threat constantly. That's the manner of the market system. So, in my opinion, and also in the opinion of people who are reasonable in a country like Britain and outside the country like Britain, the market should be regulated up to a point, so that there has to be some form of normalcy, some form of sanity in the marketplace. Otherwise, the system is going to run out of control, and it is going to collapse under its own weight. And if the market system collapses today, in the weeks, months, years, and decades to come, a country like Britain will disappear. The economy failing is a critical force, whether we survive or not. So it is, even if you are unhappy with the system, even if you are happy with the system, your number one priority to make sure the system works adequately to maintain a substantial form of stability. And my fear is that because we are become so, we are taking so many things for granted. We think, if you're in power, you are invincible. Nobody is invincible, because the only source of invincibility is if we learn our culture. I've been repeating this point, our culture, because that means we respect people, we value people, and we treat people fairly, including treating ourselves. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are. If you don't have respect for yourself, if you don't value your life, you are a ticking time bomb. You are a very dangerous species as a member of the human family. And I've already said this previously, and saying this also, that we have to really be about our weight. We need to really be sensitive to the idea of culture, because we have the culture of negligence. Children are dying on the street. People are fighting in the Middle East. People are fighting and dying in Ukraine, around the world. Natural disaster is killing us. We need to pay more attention to the environment. We need to really, use our research for peaceful purposes. Otherwise, we risk being extinct as a species. I've been stopping to rationalize the kind of things I'm talking about. Otherwise, it becomes, because I have to relate it to humanity. I have to relate everything I talk about. I'm talking about employment law at the moment, but I am interested in income, which is law. We'll talk about, you're being paid statutory pay for the full week of pay. You only get £116.75. Where else are you going to get money? And if you say you go to get benefit because you are sick, that is not going to work, because this is a bad system. If you are sick, you are on your own, and because the statutory sick pay is not enough, it's a very dangerous system of welfare, and also it's politically motivated, which should stop forthwith. Stay tuned, continue watching. Thank you so much. So we are also working out the rate for the first and the last weeks of. If you talk about weeks you are not working. If you are days off, weeks off, it means working out the rate for the first and the last week of. The first week you are off, and the last week you are off. Then this is some element of trying to do a calculation. So you will get a daily rate of statutory sick pay for the first and the last week for your sickness if you are not off for a full week. So the daily rate is £116.75 pence divided by the number of days a week you would normally work. So you get this for days of sick, when you would normally work. So you do the math. So say somebody works Tuesday to Thursday, and then he is sick from Tuesday. Say maybe February on a day, and also up to Wednesday on a certain day in February also. Say for 1 week, for example. Stay tuned, continue watching. Thank you so much. So stay tuned, continue watching. So we're talking about somebody being sick for 3 days, and the first week he misses all 3 of his days of work. So he doesn't work for 3 days, so he gets no sick pay. If there's no statutory sick pay for the first 3 working days, it's within the rule. The first 3 working days you don't get paid statutory sick pay over a period of incapacity for work. Incapacity for work is simply means you're not working because you cannot work because you're sick. So that's the first week gone. In the second week, again, he misses all 3 days of work, so he gets the full weekly rate of pay of £116.75. The reason he gets the full statutory sick pay on the second week because he didn't work at all, and his reason for not working because he was sick. So that's all they're trying to talk about. The third week is in full week of sickness, as he goes back to work on that week, and this means he gets a daily rate of statutory sick pay. As he works 3 days a week, his daily statutory sick pay rate is a third of the weekly rate, because we talk about 3 days a week, so that is £38 and £92 a day. And you calculate that for 3 days, then you get the figures. So he misses 2 days of work, Tuesday and Wednesday, for example, so he gets £77 and 84 pence a week for that week. He gets nothing for Monday because he wouldn't normally have worked then. So that is not his timetable, so he misses out. And for our example, see is that we talk about a fixed rate, fixed term contract. This is the type of the law the government has set for the people who work in Britain, and people need to understand the details of these types of working in terms of like producing working employment statuses. These are fairly complex, but it's something we're intelligent enough to deal with, but they are critical, they are extremely important. So we again try to work out statutory sick pay if we worked variable days. We talk about variable days, we talk about fixed term days. These are conditions of work in terms of either statute or contract. And how this relate to statutory sick pay. So you cannot use a statutory sick pay calculator on gov.uk for people who work different days each week. So we're looking at variable days. Variable days means this individual, someone in this situation will be working different days. Your days are not fixed. You're not like fixed term or anything like that. So the rule says you cannot use the calculator on gov.uk for such people. You can't use, so you can work it out manually using guidance on gov.uk, or get specialist help from expert advice team. If you're getting advice, for example, you're looking at experts, if they provide free advice, then you are good to go. Sometimes they give free advice, but because of funding in the United Kingdom, it's so difficult to get help of any type from anywhere. Increasingly, this is happening. I've had to repeat these points so that if you are an MP, and most people do, if you can get access to it alone or with as a group, then begin to gather evidence from the government website and also other sources, public websites, citizen advice, ACAS, get information on employment or on similar issues, focusing on the complexities, on the mode of working, like variable working days, and having to do calculation, because if you don't have money to pay a specialist, if you don't have if the specialist organizations do not have funding, you're not going to get help. That's the bottom line. That's something people should know. Because of funding problem, they may not call it funding. They may lose somewhere like the lack of resources, because they don't want to get into the situation of awkwardness, because they get funding, they have to budget, and they're responsible for budgeting. Government, the funding guidelines has given them means of budgeting and also managing the resources. So there is limitation of resources, which in straight language is the government has failed to finance social services, public services, for political reasons. It's nothing to do with economy, it's nothing to do with anything. Go and speak to your member of parliament and put pressure on them. If you are an individual, if you can do it, you do your own research on any issue involving housing, involving income, involving whatever you feel is a problem. If hospital, because sometimes you can't really get, you cannot get treatment, you cannot get medication, you cannot get a doctor's appointment, you cannot get dental service because of political problem in the United Kingdom. Nothing to do with the economy. There is a lot of wealth, the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer. We already know that, but there are people in the United Kingdom, including black people like myself, like me, or foreigners like me who come from Africa, who think we are the problem. We are creating immigrants, are creating a problem in Britain, because the media, politicians are confusing us. They're telling us we are the ones. The immigrants, black people from Africa, from West Indies, are the ones taking away money from the British people. This is not true. The government is failed because of ideological reason, because of cultural failure. Because if you don't know your culture, you become disrespectful. And disrespect is the result of failure to value one thing or another. If you don't value money or wealth, you disrespect wealth. You don't value wealth, you begin to destroy wealth. If you don't value humanity, you disrespect humanity, you begin to destroy humanity. If you can abuse, as a politician, if you can abuse foreigners, you can abuse the British people also. Whether you are in Africa, whether your government is an African government, if they start abusing foreign people, because foreign people are humans, they should be respected, they should be valued. The way the British government talks about a foreigner is savage. That savagery has nothing to do with foreigners, it has to do with savages who are section of certain political class within certain political party. All certain political parties, could be the Conservative, could be the Labour Party, Liberal Democrats in the United Kingdom. They are savages who are practicing as politicians. So the political system, the political class need cultural education and a revamping of the system so that the input respect in schools, education. Children are being kicked out of school because of misbehavior. They are being excluded from British schools. So children potentially are going to prison because of cultural failure, because children are brought up in a way which they do not respect themselves, they do not respect other people. You see, it's a cultural fingerprint, which is a problem. Children are being killed on the street, adults are being killed on the street, people are getting frustrated, they're getting depressed, people are going to die because of depression, stress. Stress is, I think, if I remember correctly, it's number one killer source of death. Is stress. I mean, I don't even know what stress is, but it is because of our attitude to life, our attitude to our lives. We don't value humanity. We value money. We value pleasure. We value holidays. We value entertainment. We anything there to protect us as a species. We increasingly we are not valuing it, and this is bringing a lot of problems. It's creating conditions of violence, of war between countries. There is a lot of chaos, and it is a ticking time bomb. But there is hope in the sense that people can change their minds, and this program is intended to encourage even only one person to realize that the number one priority in life is to value your life, to value the life of people around you, your family, your friends. There are people who do things without caring about their lives, without caring about the life of their family. So we have a situation like this when we are in a really difficult situation. And this is just the beginning. And stay tuned, continue watching, stay with me, leave a comment below, let me know what you think. If you think I'm cool, then leave a comment below. If you think I'm very, very uncool, leave a comment below. Also, if you are a young person, especially if you're a young person, because if you say, if you talk in terms of things I am discussing, a lot of young people think, well, this is probably a waste of time. Even a certain species of humanity, maybe, because they just want entertainment, they want stories. Stories are good, but sometimes somebody, because I deal with many people, some people are contemplating committing suicide because of the shock or say the cost of living crisis. People are failing to access medicine, food, energy, housing, public transport. Everything is costly and it's getting worse and worse. People who used to drive can no longer drive now because of ULEZ. The mayor of London, if you are Sadiq Khan, if you are listening to this, you are, I don't know which planet you come from, but ULEZ is wrong. If you want to manage the environment, manage it in a normal way. Don't be abnormal in producing policies involving ULEZ. Also low emission zone, whatever you call it. A lot of people cannot, you see, driving is of necessity. Sometimes even food has become a luxury. In a country like Britain, very, very rich, people are dying of excessive eating, obesity and things like that. And in countries like Africa, people are dying of hunger. They haven't eaten, the children haven't eaten, people cannot access medicine. We come full circle in our discussion. I have already promised to be repeating certain points. So leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. And we are here to stay. I'm so excited. So we'll look about choosing qualifying days. How do you choose qualifying days? How do you determine qualifying days? We discussed it previously. Leave a comment below, go online, try to find out what they're talking about when they talk about qualifying day. Every day someone works, that is a qualifying day. If you work on a daily basis, that is a qualifying day. So work is a qualifier, and you work every day, that's a qualifying day. Even if you only work for a couple of hours. You work 1 or 2 hours, that is already a qualifying day for purpose of paying statutory sick pay or assessing the same. So if you work a few days each week or different days each week, you'll have to agree with your employer which days count as qualifying days, because there has to be a consistency, a pattern of working. If you work here, you work there, you lose track of a pattern, you risk not being paid certain sick pay if you're sick. Some employers may do that deliberately, and that is the fault of the UK government, because it's not necessary. This policy is not necessary at all. You have to set one policy. Young politicians who think they are so clever, they say something like one size doesn't fit all. Sometimes it does, because there are rules in life and there are exceptions. We live by the rules. We all know that. I speak English. I learned it from school. Without following rules of grammar, I do not speak any language. Grammar in English, grammar in any other language, I would learn in school or at home. There has to be a consistency. So we live by rules. We create a society which are functioning outside the rule, and we say one size doesn't fit all. It does, because we're talking about rules and consistency. Employment law is to be a reform. Then we need to really streamline the rules on subsistence pay in such a way that it doesn't complicate it. Now it is so complicated, as you can see. We're looking at things like qualifying days. Every day you should qualify. If you work for a living, you're sick. Straightforward, every single minute should qualify. And you don't need to have a situation where, if you say you work on Monday this week and Tuesday, maybe Monday and Tuesday this week, and next week you work Thursday and Friday, then you are discounted. You cannot produce qualifying days because the pattern this week was different from the pattern next week. It's like feeding on a very complicated menu, diet, so to speak. And we don't need that kind of a complexity. I mean, this is the kind of thing you can take away. And if you are excited, which you should, then it is a basis for visiting your member of parliament. 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to see your member of parliament. But what is the point of being pessimistic? We can choose to be optimistic, even in the face of hopelessness, because the chances are that you're not going to see your member of parliament, because your member of parliament has no money. He doesn't have money. She doesn't have money to run their offices, because you see, an MP's office is a public sector office. The government, the UK government, for ideological, for political reasons, has closed down the public sector. We come full cycle. We're looking at employment. We're looking at statistic pay. We're looking at pay, the level of pay. We go full cycle. The reason the government cannot increase level of pay in work and out of work, say maybe in benefit, because the government does not have money. It has sort of the country has given money away to the super rich. These super rich do not know the meaning of giving, because they are culturally uneducated. The government doesn't have a policy or a system of cultural education in the UK, so politicians are not educated culturally. They do not value humanity. They cannot, because they don't have the knowledge. They do not have the know-how of respecting. I mean, it's a corporate body. It needs to be fair on them, because some of them are as frustrated as you and I, like I am, because they know politics should be about respect, should be about valuing humanity as a priority, but either they're in the minority, which they just appears to be, which is a problem, because the majority of politicians are monsters. They are monsters in the sense that they have lost any sense of humanity, and they create problems with the best of intentions. In their madness, they think they're saving the world. They are destroying the world, and this is a matter of emergency. If you want to go to riot. But if you listen to my advice, if I am qualified to advise you, don't even demonstrate. Demonstration is wrong, because it can lead to rioting, to public disorder, and that's an excuse for the government to destroy you quickly. It's a survival strategy. I keep telling people I know, they don't listen. Some of them listen. Do not go to demonstrate in the developed world, especially in the third world, like Africa. You can be shot and killed by a government in Africa. Just going out to demonstrate. In this country, you can be destroyed in other ways. We see that if you are demonstrating, sometimes you don't get paid well. Sometimes you may lose your job, because we talk about employment right. These are complexities which is interesting, very exciting, but stay tuned, continue watching. Thank you so much. So we are stay tuned, continue watching. We are just trying to choose qualifying days. You can leave a comment below and let me know in your own understanding what qualifying days are. I am trying to really reason with this material and also talking to you at the same time, because I know how complicated these things are, and it's a lot of work for experts because they don't have resources. So that is politics, and that is the issue, and that is the reason I'm talking about anything at all. I just choose employment. I just choose the factor within employment involving pay, involving, for example, statistic pay, exposing different elements of employment statuses, and giving rights in different ways. The complicating of employment system within the law is astonishing. Do you want to help people with employment policy, with benefit policy, with housing policy, with healthcare policy? Are they experts? Are you funding them? No, because the British government has run out of money. They don't have money for political reasons, for ideological reasons, because they are culturally. I don't know. I think the majority of politicians, the majority of people now in power, including politicians and people who are investors and entrepreneurs, or even people working in big corporations at top level, these are the rulers of the new age. The majority are not humans anymore, because how to be human is to have any sense of humanity. I mean, if you allow people to die, which people are now dying, you don't fall sick. You fall sick, the chances are, if you don't die, you are going to be destroyed. You are going to be incapacitated, which means even if you recover, look at COVID-19, look at long COVID, for example. This is the kind of diseases, even within government, we haven't been able to understand what COVID is. And long COVID is now destroying people. People cannot work. They are dying softly. And you got the controversy around COVID vaccine. What is it? How about the conspiracy theories? Is the vaccine designed to kill humans? How are we supposed to know if we cannot trust the government? If the government tells us something, we are supposed to trust the government. Now you have people rioting on the street. We don't know where they come from. Who is financing them? Who is backing them up? It could even be politicians. Could even be people who are not politicians. Whether they are elected or unelected, we don't know who is behind rioting. the rioting which happened in the United Kingdom, the rioting which happened in America during the presidency of Donald Trump, we don't know who is the power. And we have terrorism, we have terrorist threat in France or in any other country. Who is behind it? We don't know. And then what is the government doing? We don't know. Do we trust the government? Yes and no. Because we don't really know who to trust anymore. And this is the kind of thing I'm inviting you to discuss using this framework. Now, whatever I talk about, I'm talking about the politics, first of all, but also some of the policies, as well as all the other, the legal system, the legal programs, the funding issues, the welfare issues, you see, the level of pay, the poverty problem. How can somebody, I mean, if you live in the United Kingdom, you are so embarrassed that you will never tell anybody in the world that you are poor. Even if you know you're poor, it's the other problem. People do not realize that they are poor, because if you struggle in a rich country like Britain, because you're struggling, you can't even go on holiday. Sometimes you can't even go outside into the park because you're working. You work long hours, you work long days, no peace for the wicked. So your country has turned you into a wicked person who do not rest. Because the measure of a wicked person is that they don't rest. They're always looking for money and more money, so that you are able to pay your debts. And I already said, if the government can discuss with the super rich, the royal family included, and some people who we don't even know, they are so rich, they are measured in billions of US dollars. Talk to them, talk to your friends in America. It's a global problem now because of globalization. See, this insanity is now global, because Britain increasingly is losing its sovereignty in the world. America is losing that. Every country in the world is losing their sovereignty, which means they're losing power. Even if the government wants to solve a problem, it has to solve it with the rest of the other countries. This is the explanation. It's very accurate. You think it is accurate, leave a comment below. You think it's inaccurate, leave a comment below. If it makes sense, leave a comment below. If it doesn't, leave a comment below. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and support it by subscribing. Subscription is free, it takes seconds. Click like also, you click like for free, you don't pay for clicking like, it takes seconds. It supports my channel in one way or the other to grow, and growth is a critical in life. Even with human life, if you don't grow, you're going to be stunted in growth and you're going to just melt away. YouTube channel is the same. It needs to grow to survive, to do what I need to do what you need done through this platform. Leave a comment below, let me know. And I'm so grateful for people who have been supporting me. We are still small. As you are small, you get less attention in life. That is what it's life. If you're a small person, people think you are uninteresting, but you know, once you grow as a channel, people become, oh, let's spend a bit of time. And you know, curiosity sometimes kills a cat, sometimes it doesn't. So people get curious, and that's how the world starts moving. You know, let's go and see what's happening. This channel is looking interesting. A lot of people are there. What are they trying to do? That's what size provides in life. You know, if you see where there is a crowd, you think it's something of interest there. Even if it's a normal occurrence, it doesn't matter how good something is. If you go to a shop, it doesn't matter how good the product is. If people are not there, you're probably not going to buy anything, because you think where people are, that's where the good products are. You're trying to buy tomatoes, you know, you're trying to buy meat, you know, where there are people, you know, scrambling. You think the product's good, that's where people will normally go. And in the sense, it's also the case that, you know, where people are, that's where things are interesting. So we are a small channel, we are less interesting for now, but we are optimistic. We know when we grow up, when we grow into a bigger channel, we are going to do fairly better than we are doing now. And it is a challenging situation. The topic I'm looking at is really challenging. It's a choice I have made. It's a very challenging, but it's been really good. I'm looking at employment in the United Kingdom. I'm looking at pay. We are looking at sick pay. We're looking at the complexity of law, employment law in the United Kingdom. If it is complicated in the UK, it is complicated across the globe. And low pay is a chronic disease on the economy of the United Kingdom, especially for people who work for a living and people who don't work on living, who need help from the government, one way or the other, in terms of housing, in terms of other aspects of need. The level of pay is so low. My appeal to the government of Britain and of the world: work together as civil people, go to school and learn cultural economy, so that you have respect for yourself, you respect for other people. If what you respect is what you value. If you don't respect people, you don't value people, and you create problems. Instead of trying to solve problems, you create problems by default. Your very nature is a problem creator because you have no respect for people. The low level of pay in the United Kingdom, the complex approach to policy making is getting worse, not better, and the concealing of problem, which is created by political ideology, where the public sector being closed down, is critical in whether or not Britain or the rest of the globe will survive. If we don't correct the public sector problem now, we are going to have a global meltdown, one way or the other. It may not be now, it may be decades to come, maybe in the distant future, but the signs are beginning now. The process is going to, chaos is going to, you see, we are not going to achieve improvement. It doesn't matter how rich our society is, we are going to be in more problems. This, when you are, because wealth is not everything. Wealth is extremely important, but culture is extremely important, because that is where your happiness comes from. You respect yourself, you respect other people, you value yourself. When I talk about respect, the word value is in my mind, because if you value something, you're going to really look after it. Negligence is a major problem in the United Kingdom, across the globe as well, because what happened in the UK is happening across the globe. I have been repeating this line of conversation over and over and over. I also promise I will do it until everybody is happy. People who are unhappy, take time off, go on holiday, do your own thing. If you have money, do some shopping, do what you want to do. But we are going to stay here and do what we need to do, because our lifeline is our medicine, is our culture. Because I have now seen that rich people are committing suicide, poor people are committing suicide. Rich people commit suicide because they are poor, they are rich. They are so scared that they go insane. Because imagine if you are a multi-billionaire, you think about money, your wealth every day, because potentially you are going to lose it because of violence. So if you are a multi-millionaire and multi-billionaire, and you're thinking about peace, and you don't know your culture, because you are uneducated culturally, you don't value humanity, you don't value your life, how are you going to keep your wealth? Because you see, you are the author and finisher of your life. Wealth was created by you. And if you don't value your life, because the point is, you cannot neglect somebody who works for you, somebody who walks on the street, who is a human being, and think you are valuing your life. Because if the British people, for example, think foreigners are the problem, that also means the British people are saying they are the problem, because people who come into Britain if they are the problem, they are the problem because they are humans. And so if you say they are problematic, then they are humans and they are the same as you are. There's only difference that you are British and they are foreign, which means if they are a problem, you are also a problem. Because see, if they are a problem because they are foreigners, and then that means also they are a problem in the same way that you are a problem, because we both are human. And in terms of our value arrangement, we arrange our priority in terms of humanity, whether we are foreign, whether we are black or white, whether we are domestic, whether we are nationals. If you think foreigners, because they are foreigners, are creating problems in Britain, they are the same as you. They are humans. So look at foreigners in terms of their humanity. If they are creating problems, then you smell a rat. That humanity is creating problem. If you're British, if you're American, if you're somewhere in Africa, you think people coming into your country are the ones creating problem. Then you know they are creating problem because they are humans, not because they are foreign. Because how can they come and suddenly start creating problem in your country without creating problem in their country, the same person? If you're a problem creator, always a problem creator, it doesn't matter where you are. And there's a myth that if you are British, somehow you don't create problem in Britain because you are a British. If that is true, then you're good to go, because you don't create problems abroad. See, because you are a good person, you're British, you're good to your country. That means also, by default of humanity, you are good to other countries as well. So the argument of foreigners being criminals, being rapists, being thieves, being black and poor and destitute, and they want to steal your things, that is irrelevant. Because what is relevant is that they steal things in your country because they are humans, which means as much as they are thieves, murderers, and invaders of territories, the same applies to you because you do the same thing because you're human. That is the cultural argument, without more. And when we begin to realign the way we think, within that train of thinking, then you begin to realize how pathetic it is. Somebody in Britain thinking their problem is created by foreigners. That's what brought extremist right wing onto the street to create a lot of problem in Britain recently, and they were actually inflamed, misled by worthless politicians on the far right wing who have been stirring up racial hatred for political reasons. They are thieves and liars. They are looters. These politicians on the far right wing, on the far left wing, wherever you are, you use racism, you use foreigners for political advantage, and you are a total fool. And the type of such individuals being very powerful is a problem, because they are gaining now, wickedness as a propensity to increase. One day we will wake up in Britain and see that all the good people are out of power. All the monsters are the ones running the country. In America, in Africa, so evil people have a propensity to access power. And that's the risk of cultural failure in the United Kingdom, in everywhere. And that is why there's poverty in the UK. There's war and violence around the world. We can wake up from our sleep. If you're poor, if you're a child, if you're a young person, you have to start a conversation at family level, at individual level, at community level, at national level, at international and global level. We have to become political activists. If the government says don't demonstrate, if the government attitude is against demonstration, don't. You see, if you are going to be a political activist, the first thing to do is to listen to what the government says. Most people will disagree with me, but you see, if you begin to disobey the government, if you begin to kind of rebel against government, you give them an opportunity to destroy you. If you want to survive, don't demonstrate. The government can say you are free to demonstrate, but if you notice that their attitude is such as to punish people who demonstrate, that it means they don't want you to demonstrate. For example, if they use employment law to punish people who leave work and go on to demonstration, then you know there's a problem. If you are actually stereotyped or even spied on by the police, by the Secret Service because you are demonstrating, then you spread a rat. Don't demonstrate. You can do activism in every other way. I'm not saying you are not going to be fought by the government, especially an evil government, and increasingly the government is getting more and more evil because more and more evil people are entering into power. People who do not respect humanity, people who are culturally uneducated, people who do not value humanity. That's why there is a lot of chaos. People with wealth are not thinking of using their wealth for peace. They are weaponizing everything. They are weaponizing technology. And if we continue along this path, including looking at employment, which I am looking at employment, the law, the policy, they are complex. If you think it is not complex, leave a comment below. You have the ability to go online and read about pay, statutory pay in the UK, and leave a comment below. I found it very easy, and you are just not clever enough. You can come and tell me to my face. You know, I went and read this thing for 6 months, and now I am an expert on employment law, and I love it. You are just lazy. You tell me to my face that I am a lazy person. I don't read it. I'm not clever. That's why I find it very complicated. I find this material very complicated, and I have to be an expert because if I don't have money, lots of money, I'm not going to access justice because the government has closed down legal aid in the United Kingdom. It is no longer there, especially for employment issues. For other issues, it's there, but only I mean, it's just a matter of time. You're not going to see it anymore because what happens is that if the government says we are giving legal aid and you can't get legal aid because the process of getting legal aid is too complicated. The same with sickness pay, benefit, and also now favorable condition of work, of employment. You can hardly work to your advantage. The best way to work is like a slave because of the complexity of employment law, and also because the system is complicated. There are experts to be trained by the state through whatever mechanism, but they should be there to provide support for people who are poor, people who are weak. Even small and medium businesses cannot access justice because the system is too complicated for them. They need specialists, they need experts. These services cost money. For the ones provided freely, there's no funding. Stay tuned, continue watching. Thank you so much.
MVC record.
Trompa chega, son de beat.
So we are going to stop this program here, and thank you very much for attending today. Today we have been talking about work in the United Kingdom. We have also been talking about employment, work, employment. Talk about pay. We've been talking about statutory sick pay. I've today been paying attention on how complicated I find employment law is. Going through the materials, and I've really found these things to be really complicated, and also we as employees, as employer, we will be depending on experts, solicitors, in other words lawyers in the United Kingdom, solicitors and barristers. And also these are lawyers in the United Kingdom. When you hear somebody say solicitor or barrister, these are lawyers, they are specialists. They are also specialists within organizations, social organizations, like ACAS, perhaps also shelter, citizen advice in the United Kingdom. These are available, but they are lacking in resources. So in as much as they are there on paper, in practice they are no longer there, because unless the government changes, I'm a bit pessimistic about change. That some changes are going to happen, others might not happen at all. Because we are the Labour Party in the United Kingdom, we have the Labour Party, we have the Conservative Party. We have something called New Labour. We have somebody called Keir Starmer, Prime Minister Keir Starmer in the United Kingdom. I'm not sure who he is. He used to be on the shadow cabinet of somebody called Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn was trying to stand for being Prime Minister in the United Kingdom. The Labour Party in Westminster, the members of Parliament and all their allies, even the Labour Party rejected Jeremy Corbyn. He was talking about nationalising the economy, including public service, which is the right thing to do. The only right thing to do about public policy is to nationalize it. I don't think that is going to happen in practice. The politics is rotten to the core in the United Kingdom, is rotten to the core. Across the globe, nationalization is unlikely. I think it is too little too late to nationalize the economy, in which case, if we don't nationalize the economy, when I talk about nationalizing the economy, I mean the public sector of the economy, which is the main sector of the economy for the majority of the people, for the majority of the people to access wealth in the United Kingdom, to access livelihood, to access healthcare, food, energy, housing, and public transport, healthcare, dentistry, education, and also peace in many ways, because the military, the security system, the military, and the police, the prison system, the legal infrastructure, but also our culture, which we haven't even started work on, which I am talking about. I look a bit like an alien, talk about something called cultural economy, which probably no one knows anything about what I'm talking about. To people who are experts, who are specialists, are probably laughing it off. They are probably referring to me as a total idiot. They would probably say, I know nothing. I don't know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about, because I have defined it. I have defined cultural economy to mean respect. Who doesn't know about respect? Do you need to go to school? Do you need to go to university? You waste taxpayers' money. If you want to go to learn and do a research on respect, whether you should respect yourself, whether you should respect other people, you don't need a college degree to do that. You are born with it. If you are human, it is in your DNA. The only people who do not respect anyone are aliens, or people who are so corrupted that they have already lost their humanity. if you are an alien on the one hand, or somebody who is so corrupt to the point of being an animal or worse than an animal, then you are no longer a human being. You don't know the value of respect. You don't respect something, you don't look after it. So if you neglect human life, you allow people to die of poverty, of disease, of ignorance. If you allow war to occur for political gains or for economic gains, then you are an alien. You are a monster. You are a murderer, a thief, and a terrorist. It doesn't matter if you are King Charles, if you are a member of the royal family, you do that. You don't deserve even to exist unless you can unlearn being a monster. Unless you, it doesn't mean I'm a good person, because I'm human. Every human is a work in progress. I'm not trying to practice to claim some form of idealism. I am a work in progress. I do so many wrong things. I mean, I am sick all the time. I am stressed. That means human infirmity. It's normal. Now, what I'm talking about is losing your humanity, failing now your culture, failing culturally. You no longer value your life. You no longer value humanity. You no longer respect yourself. You don't respect other people. We are having this problem. I know it. Leave a comment below. I know it. And if you don't know it, well and good. That is what I am talking about. I am using information within policy, law, politics, every issue of society, poverty, welfare, wealth, economic system, political system, capitalism, market, to illustrate a problem or opportunity or solutions. To talk about problem and solutions, because solution is learning culture. We are successful as developmentalists. As culturalists, we have failed. So we need now to start continuing with development and also begin to start investing more. Our thoughts, our energy, our attention, paying attention. We need to learn it. And we can learn. We choose to learn, we choose to ignore something that is a choice, which is good. And my invitation is to start paying attention to our culture and learning respect again. Even if you are a politician, if you are still human, you can still learn to be human. If you're already an alien, then it's okay. It's up to humans to focus on becoming human, strengthening their humanity, and get rid of aliens. Get rid of people who already lost their humanity. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment below if you understand what I'm saying. If you don't understand, leave a comment below. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Support it. Watch the rest of the video, share it, probably, and fair. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.